I've put off working on my next books for a while. It's reached a point where I can't put it off anymore. We're already in month 5 of 12 months to a year. It's any longer, and it's going to get deferred for a year. And I don't do that. I release a book each year. So what'll be happening is I'll be working on multiple manuscripts at once because I have multiple books in development. So there's a good chance I'm going to prioritize one to be the main focus, but I will jump between. So it, the point really is, don't be so surprised if a book comes out and a couple of months later another one comes out. They literally could be 3 this year out of nowhere. But realistically, we look about maybe 2. Um, so yeah, and what I want to do with this video really is just inspire others to share their story because I don't gatekeep, never have. That's not something I do. I'm never in competition with anyone else. I don't look here and I don't look there. I'm very tunnel visioned. I'm very focused on my own path. So everything's original from myself. And I recognize that everybody has a story to tell. We've all had unique experiences in life. And it's not about comparing and it's not about competing. It's about just sharing our story and owning it. Like, this is who I am, and love yourself for it. Of course, there's some people with very creative talents who can create novels, fiction, and that's something I intend to do later. I've got a good idea for that, but it is a commitment. It's a completely different avenue to what I'm doing at the moment, and I don't have the capacity to do that at the moment with the projects I have. So, like I say, I'm not here to gatekeep. I want to inspire people to tell their stories, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking on camera. Um, I've shared in other videos the hardware I use and the fact that, look, if you was only doing video content, for instance, you can create private videos and you can fine tune the art and you can compare the quality of your content over a period of time and then get comfortable with it. It's like you don't have to publish every single video you do, or at least the early versions if you don't want to, if you have a fear of being seen or being criticized, because that's the thing. You put yourself in the public domain, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, there's going to be people who are going to have a reaction, positive, negative. It's like, can you handle that? That's going to be part of it. But when we write our stories, and if you was to do a book, for instance, you don't have to share it with everybody. You can do it just for you. You can share it with your close ones, family, friends, or you can publish it yourself. And there's avenues to go. So personally, I self-publish my work because I don't have the interest, in all honesty, in trying to convince anyone of anything. I don't have the capacity to care enough about other people's opinion of it, and the whole process that goes in that. For instance, if I was to submit my work to a publisher, and I tried it before, so effectively you have to find a literary agent, and they'll fight for your work on all this stuff. But the real problem is, it's like there's a whole process of that. It's time consuming. I can have my book released a lot quicker on my own terms. I don't have to share the royalties with them. Now, of course, if your book's in a shop, there's other things. You can get a lower rate, can't you, if it's in more eyes? So there's this positive, negative. But I can't bother the whole manuscript side. But if anyone's interested in that, it's obviously an option you can go down. But effectively, you can only provide them with, like they might say, a specific word count. So you have to fall in line with exactly that word count for the submission. It might say it must be formatted with this spacing, this font, this size. It's like, I can't be bothered with all that shit. That's just ridiculous. It's like, that's anal retentive, and my mind can't handle it. It's like, I've done the work. I'm not doing that. I'm not appeasing people like that. No chance. But that's me. Like I say, I like to do my own way. And I'm going to share some tools I use at the moment because I think that's important. But the other thing is, like, work at your own pace. Again, we're not competing with anyone. I only work fast and I'm very focused because I don't like things ruining my time. Once it's there, it sears into my mind. It's just how my mind works. Like, it bothers me. It's an obstacle. Usually halfway through, I've got other ideas that I want to work on as well, but I know we must finish because otherwise you never finish anything. Hence why I have multiple manuscripts. I will divert slightly, but I'll never lose focus on the main task. So there is that, of course. Some people may have one book in them. Some people may have multiple books. Trying to think where the hell I was going, to be totally honest, because mine's going all over the place because I've got so much I want to talk about. Anyway, don't want to digress because I'm going to go too far left, right, and centre here. So one of the main things is we're going to think about the tools we got to use. Oh, that's where I was before we get to the tools. Is I've had it throughout my whole journey, especially at the very beginning. People will project their journey onto you. It's like, do it your way. Don't worry about it. If someone starts by making notes at the beginning and they plan it all out, that's great for them. If that doesn't feel natural to you or irritates you, don't worry about it. You don't have to do it that way. Work how you want to do. You're a unique individual. We are not here to copy or mirror other people. I had people before say, um, you people can't edit their own work. It's always poor quality when you edit your own work. All this nonsense, and it's like they're just projecting their own limitations. Now, I'm not saying they ain't talented at the part they can do, but if they can't be, um, I had the word before. I've completely lost it now. Impartial. If you can't be impartial to your own work, then yeah, you can't edit it. If you don't have the capacity to fine tune and um, be afraid. Like some people just hold on too tight to things. So like, let's say you've done a whole chapter and you put effort into that, and then it comes time you go, wait, that's not fitting the direction of the book. It's kind of holding the whole book back because it's just derailing the momentum. I'm going to take the whole chapter out, and now all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, it flows better. That's being impartial. That's being able to like criticize ourselves and make better decisions. Some people can't do any of that, so they don't have the inability. So they just assume other people have the inability. Now, of course, we all have different talents, but that's the thing. So I like someone could be a better writer than me. I could be a better writer than them. They could be a better storyteller than me. I could be a better storyteller than them. Like, what's the point of proclaiming to be the best of anything? It's like just get on with it, you know. So I have no doubt, like my ability to storytell and write, I that's my strength. My ability to edit isn't my strength. I don't enjoy doing it, but I can do it. Now, I can recognise that my work it could elevate even further if I had someone who was absolutely top of their game, a professional editor. First of all, I can't afford an editor. It's just not in I don't have a budget at all. I just can't fund that. People don't work for free. I can work for free because it's my own project. I can't ask someone else to work for free and they're not going to anyway. Second of all, it takes too long. By the time they come back with revisions for all the work, I'm already going to be onto other projects. And that'll just annoy me. Keep stop, start, stop, start. So like, let's say there's people at the top of their game. They're like a level 10 editor. That's like a crazy amount. That's like Stephen King level. You know, he's got an editor that proofreads, fine tunes everything. Because I've no doubt that if you read his raw work, I'm not criticizing anybody, and I don't know the depths of his work, but it wouldn't surprise me if his work is very raw. And we only see the edited version after someone has really gone through like they've probably gone through like layers and layers to make it as it is in the end. Now, I don't consider my work totally raw when it gets there. So let's say his work is like a 3 or a 4 when he produces it, because it's all rough. It's all like he's got all his ideas he's putting out. And I'm not saying that is. I'm just saying assumptions. And then you get a level 10 editor who really, really brings it up. And they get it up to a level 6 before they send it back to him. He gives them fine. He agrees, not agrees. And then it keeps getting. And then they've got like level 10 quality because he's got all these professionals around him. I think my natural ability personally is like a 7, 8. I don't know. My ability to edit is really just fine tune and do some other things. But I can recognize that my work could be a 10 if someone was working on it with me and side by side, and that was their skill. But I don't care if it's a 10. You know, I'm happy enough with the quality. It's like I always say that I just want honest reviews. I don't ask anyone to rate my work. If people want to go out their way to do so, then by all means. But I just want people to be honest, be fair. You know, I don't like. It's no point putting 1. Like, my work is not a 1-star, and I know that. It's like it's just some people are just so negative anyway. It's like you know there's an agenda when that happens, you know. But anyway, the reality there as well is the fact that some people are perfectionists. I've always been a bit of a perfectionist, but you have to let that go a bit, because otherwise you never produce anything. You would never think this ready. So that comes into that. Like I'm recognizing, let's say I'm an 8. Well, perfection's 10. It's like, are you really gonna just keep putting it off because you don't think it's 10? It's like it's good. It's great. It's good. And then when we let people decide, otherwise you're holding on to something that someone else may truly enjoy, or it may be the thing they need. So for me personally, I do the whole process, and it's for people to judge. You know, whatever. It's I come up with the title of the books. I come up with the design of the front cover for the books. I format the books. I write the books. I edit the books. I self-publish the books, which means I choose the distributor. I then do the product description pages. I go through all the admin sides, so I have to sign the tax declarations and I have to come up with the pricings with consideration of the royalty I receive. All these things. Where in the world I want to distribute, the prices of those distributions around the world. There's a lot of levels here. And if I want to advertise, like personally, I would suggest if people are going to pay for advertising and you're on a budget, advertise through Amazon. It's great. For instance, if you do it through social media, there's no guarantee people will actually click through. Even if they click like, it doesn't mean it's a purchase. And it's like by the time so many people have viewed it, that's your budget gone. Whereas with Amazon, it's if people click it. So you could do an ad listing for like a £10 and it could stay there like all for weeks on end. Because if no one clicks it, but what you've done, you've put it in front of them. And they may remember it, they may not. But if they click it, then that costs you money. But if they don't click it, it doesn't cost you money. So literally, you've got a chance to put it in front of people, and it doesn't cost you anything. So that's an option. There's a whole process with that. I'm not going to go through that here. I may never go through it because even I'm not a marketing guru. But I've figured out how to get it as low as possible. There's sort of like ways you can go about doing that. But that's something to look into, like I did. I went on YouTube and found some videos, and I started really learning a little bit there. And that's a completely different avenue of this. We're talking about the production of the book at this point, like telling your story. So let's get on to what I use, the software. I use 2 programs to do my books. So I've told people so many times, Scrivener, that's my tool. Some people use Word. I find Word's very unintuitive. It's very regimented. It's linear. It doesn't offer me any customization to the point where I want to. Now, some people may know how to do that, and I do know you can get the table of contents or chapter titles down the side. There's probably ways to do it, but I find this is just effortless. Scrivener's not particularly expensive, but you do get a free trial here. What's great about the free trial is it's a 30-day free trial, and so 30 days of actual use. It's not like 30 days from activation and it's like within a month you've got to buy it. That's not the case at all. It's 30 days of use. So if you close the application, let's say you use it today and tomorrow, that's 2 days. You close the application, you don't go to it for another week. You still only use 2 days until you reactivate, and that's like now we're on another day. So effectively, 30 days of work could be half a book. If you do 1,000 words a day, that's 1,000 words per activation. You've done half a book within a free trial. If you work at a faster pace, you may even get the book for free. In the end, it doesn't even cost a lot. I think it's about £50. I had to buy it twice, but that's how much I love it. So I have it for Windows. So different licenses. So I've got it for Windows, and then I had to buy a separate license for Mac because I prefer working on MacBooks. So I could do the whole book on my computer, and I've done that before. But I recognize I like the ability to sit wherever I want. And so I like to use, I prefer to do it with a MacBook. I can sit on the sofa. I can just sit around, sit wherever. I can just do it wherever I want. It's easy. So I had to get a different license. And like I say, I only talk about products I endorse. I don't get any money from talking about it. I want to give people the best tools. And I'm going to show a little Scrivener in a minute, only very basic, because like mine is on the MacBook, predominantly the work I've got, and it's going to be impossible at this point to showcase it on my screen. So yeah, we'll go through what that does in a minute. As you can see, it says for writing and writing and writing, and it says Scrivener is the go-to app for writers of all kinds, used every day by best-selling novelists, screenwriters, non-fiction writers, students, academics, lawyers, journalists, translators, and more. And it is great. It is incredible. There's something here, yeah. So when you make a new manuscript, you'll literally go new, and then I think it says manuscript, or it'll just be new work. I can't remember what it is, like new file. It'll either be new file or new manuscript. I always start a new one, but I always do fiction. So you've got non-fiction, fiction. My work is work of non-fiction. But the real problem is you go non-fiction and it's like academic work. And it's not really what I'm writing. So my writing, the way the book is produced, is very much the same as a novel would be. So it's that design. And you can fine tune everything, and I'm going to go through that in a minute, like what Scrivener is, because if you get into writing, it's such an invaluable tool. And even I haven't touched all of it, and I've been using it for 6 years. It's crazy, but effectively, you only need what you need to create the work. And it's like, yeah, there's another feature. When I do a novel, there'll be other features I want to tap into. So like character development and all that, because you're going to have things intertwined and not forget the story. So that's going to be important. When it's about life, we already know the story. You know the characters. You know the connections. You know what the history. You know all those things. The other thing I use is Grammarly. Now, there's a free version of Grammarly, which is fine. It will just give you spell checkers and commas and things like that to a very basic standard, and that can work. I used that on my first book, I think, A Father's Daughter. Later on, I bought I paid for premium. It's about £100 a year. You can get discounts. Actually, I think it's gone up, but if you search online, you can find yourself discounts. If you use the free period, eventually they might send you an email with a discount anyway, so you can get it for like £60 for the year, and that's a lot of use for the year, especially if you're doing books. So, like I say, for me, it's priceless. I did get it at a discount for the year, just in time. And I've had it for 3 months. I've paid full price for 3 months on a discount, but I haven't even been using it much. Shame on me. But the reality is, I can have, if I was to do 3 books in a year, it's crazy how cheap it's cost me to edit, because I use Grammarly to edit. And it's up to me how I edit. So, like, it doesn't just do it automatically. It's not automated. We have to still use human input, and you have to still think for yourself. It's good at giving you suggestions, so it can fix your grammar, it can fix your spellings. You don't have to be the best at those things, but you still have to sort of be able to read it back and make sure it's coherent, because just because it looks like it's making sense or it looks like it's improving it, it may ruin the structure of your sentences if you just agree to everything. So you still need to have your discernment, and you may go on and then keep editing after. So I've made a few mistakes on purpose because I wanted to show what it does. I naturally wanted to include the commas, but I'm taking commas out on purpose. So I put throughout, and I made it through out. I've made it twice. I want to show how you just correct that. So we click on it, and it'll give you suggestions individually usually, but on this one, it's giving me. So I think if I did this correctness one, what it's good at here, it gives you a whole process on the right hand side of how it could improve it all. So where I've put throughout, out, much of my life we suffer, perhaps misunderstanding the root causes and deeper meaning as to why. Because this isn't like best work in the world. I just wrote it briefly to make this thing. It's changed it to throughout much of my life, and it's comma, we have suffered, perhaps misunderstanding the root causes and deeper meaning of why. So they've changed as to why to of why, and instead of we suffer, they put we have suffered. And of course, they fixed where the commas should be. There's a lot more commas they've added because, like I said, I tried to take them out on purpose. And where I've put soul's purpose, they've put an apostrophe between. So looking at it, where I can see where they've made the changes, they've made it for the better, and it hasn't made it incoherent. So in that sense, you would just go, yeah, I'm happy with it. Hasn't made massive changes, but it's fine tuned it. Now now it's far better. It's improved it. And that's what I use. And it's not cheating in any way because it's editing. It's no different, in my opinion, to me sending it off to someone and they doing the same thing. But instead of waiting 3 months for them to get back to me with all these notes all over the place, I can do it live. And I'm doing it. So I can take care of it myself, and I can be impartial. I take out whole paragraphs if I choose to. I could take up a whole, I've done it before. I took out whole chapters. If I'm like that, it's not the same standard. That's gone. It's just, or I've doubled. Maybe this chapters are very similar to each other. There's no point. So there's that. I'm not going to go through the whole publication process. I've done other videos on that, so I'm not really going to go that deep. I just want to inspire people, just as I'm about to get on with my work. So, like I said, I'm going to be working on 3 manuscripts at once because they're totally different. The first one's spiritual. That's going to be the main focus. So, effectively, I've done 2 books on personal trauma. I've done 3 books on personal growth, transformation to inspire people to heal. And I've done 1 book on spirituality. So it's about time another book on spirituality come. So it's 2 of 1, 3 of 1, and 2 of 1. So that is enough. But on top of that, it's another personal growth transformation that I want to do to help people see through life, really, and grow. And then there's another one. The next one is society and culture. We've seen an awful lot since Trump, but I was already writing this, and I've already got a book's worth about Trump. But we'll see how I integrate and what I change. But because things are happening live and there's situations, I'm going to want to delve into that at the same time. So it might be, so like I said, I'll have my hands in a few pies. And I've also got a book on history that I really wanted to do. I picked about 20 characters from history who like to immortalize. They're already immortalized, but I want to make sure they don't get forgotten and go deeper into their story and then my opinion on it, like from what we understand, because that's what historians do. They tell the facts that we know, and then they put their own opinion on it. But the problem is they make it that fact, whereas I'm making it clear within my book, this is my opinion based on the information given. But of course, it's subjective. But that's my opinion, and I was really enjoying writing that. But I have to get these other books out of the way, and that could be a trilogy because I'm thinking of going down the path of not just history, but mythology. So that is, I was really excited about that. So there's avenues I'm going, that are untapped in me. So soon there'll be more books, of course. But anyway, let's continue so we don't get distracted. I just want to give people the tools to get on with their own work while I'm getting on with mine. So you don't have to, of course, if you decide you're never going to do a book. It's like that's a fair choice. It's just this is what I'm going to be off doing now. I'm going to be I'm going to make myself busy because I can't delay any longer. And it's like maybe it'll inspire others not to delay either. So let's come off that and put it on Scrivener. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in on a Scrivener. There's nothing I can actually do to my screen to make it any easier for people. So you might have to go full screen if you're not full screening it. I'm not going too deep here anyway. Really, what the depth is, you would do, there we go, new project at the top. Then you would pick fiction, and then it would give you the manuscript. Literally, the first page they give you is this novel format. And it gives you information. If you've never used Scrivener, it's going to help you understand what to do. So maybe don't delete that yet. I always end up deleting it because I don't really need it. And then what you do, you just go here to the left side, the little folders, and you just create chapters. So you can either right click it or you can just press this next to this plus. You can press a little button next to it and you say new folder. Every one of them new folders is a chapter. And then within that chapter, you would right click and then we can add new text. Now, the folder is the chapter, so that'll be the chapter title. And there's going to be a lot of customization at the end when you compile your work. Again, that's going to be a whole other series. If people are interested in the future, I might try and help. But even I get lost sometimes. So like when I finish my work, because it's been a year, 6 months, whatever, since my last time, even I have to go through it myself and figure it out. It's trial and error. It's like, don't let it overwhelm you too much. If you produce your work and you think that's not right, there's spacing problems, the title don't look right, just calm down and have a look how you can change it. Like what options are available. Go through them and see how it alters. You can always Google it, of course, if there's a real deep issue. But you'll find there's customization and editing available at the final end that you can work on. But here we go. So look, like I say, chapter titles here. So I put 4. So 4 would come up based on how I decide how to structure the end result. That would be the title. So it wouldn't be the title of this, like where it says untitled document. That wouldn't come up. It would just be 4. So you'd either call it 4, chapter 4. You can even use the wording 4. And then this is like the text underneath, the text file, is what the actual chapter is, the work. So you would just obviously type blah, 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 blah. In essence, it doesn't matter so much the style you're using, just what's comfortable for you to read, because you can transform all of this at the very end into the text you want it to be. So you can say, don't let the in format in override and all these sort of things. So like the beauty here is, let's say I've got 1, 4, chapter 2, and 3. That's what I've got written. With Scrivener, let's say I start writing and I go off topic and I'm just these are my chapter titles. And later on, I'm thinking, well, this chapter follows on nice with that chapter. And if I keep it in the original order, it might be that it looks like you're repeating yourself a lot because that one's similar to that, but it's a little bit different and it would follow on great. But if I put it at the end of the book, it looks like we're going back and forward all the time. So it might be you've done a chapter and you go, that would be better earlier on. So now we can just grab the chapter and just move it up. Now, what you've got to do is make sure it doesn't go in, because if you do, there's a certain way, and if you do it wrong, it can go inside the chapter. So you just make sure it's a lot in line. But yeah, that's how we do the. That's the main reason I use Scrivener. Plus, it blocks everything else out. I don't need to see all the intricacies with Word. I don't want to get distracted by anything. It's like, give me this tool. I'll open this page. And I'm just working from this. You can do it in black. I think my one on the laptop is black. I know it actually might not be. I can't remember, because you can change the skin, the theme, whatever less distracting to you. So yeah, you type it away. At the very bottom of here, we got a word count, which is useful. So if I did that, a space. Every time you do a space, of course, it's going to be another word. But what we could do as well, we go project targets. Now, what I do here, you can't. It's up. Why is it not coming up on my screen? Wait a minute. I just want to see if there's an option where I can add to it. Right, it's not going to come up. It's not going to show it. But okay, so I'll get a pop-up come up on my screen here, and you can set a target. So it says target words. I put 1,000. Manuscript target. I do 60,000. Because that's how big a book is roughly. And I try to do it. And then when it says session target, I put 1,000. It just keeps me on point. It doesn't mean I have to do that. It just shows me if I've not hit my target today or if I've gone way above it. It just gives me some sense of like achievement or like things I need to work on. And I think by having a certain amount target overall, it gives you an awareness of how far you're into your project. It just gives you a bit, it's not a gospel. It can adjust, but that's useful to have. You can also go on so that's project targets, but you can also do statistics, and it'll tell you how much is written already throughout the whole work, including maybe your introduction, each of the chapters combined. But it's a great tool. And what's great with this is it can actually create the ebook as well. So effectively, you can just go straight to create an ebook, which is very useful. And you can also make it create a Word document. So it's formatted as best it can be. You will likely have to go back into Word and make some fine tunes with the margins and things. There's a whole process with that. I don't enjoy doing it. When I come to do mine, I may share it because I think it would help people, because even I get a headache and it takes me a day or two of real headache getting it right. It's not always simple as you want it to be. But again, overall, you were doing this ourselves though. Maybe let's say it gives you 2 days of headache and you're thinking, I can't do this. It's too much. Just think, if you passed it off to someone else who's a so-called professional, they're not going to come back to you in 2 days. So, and you don't know if it's giving them a headache. I mean, obviously, if they're doing it all the time, they're probably not. But the reality is, it's like, don't beat yourself up because something's challenging. It's like we're all learning and we're all at different levels. I kid you not. The first time when I did my first book, I was losing my mind with Word. It was doing my head in. I didn't realize some of the more automated things you could do. For instance, I was making the titles of each chapter just basic paragraph body stuff, so in fact, some people may not even know this now. If you go on Word and you highlight the wording you want for your chapter, and then there's at the top, there's a bit where you can say it's body, it's this title, it's a subheading, all these things. If you make it title, and then you change the color back to black, because obviously you want it black for a book, realistically, and you can change the font style and the sizing, and you can even make it where that's the default throughout the book anyway. And then when you go to make a table of contents, it can grab all the titles, the ones that have been labeled titles, that would go in your table of contents. But if you don't make it a title, for instance, if you just try to make a normal body text a title, and you just make it the font bigger, and you try to make it in the center, that the Word doesn't know that's a title, so it won't come up in a table of contents. And I only figured that out later. So my first book was completely me writing the table of contents myself. So the spacing was never great. And it was a whole process of me like trying to figure this out, because it was like the spacing was going mental. And it was like every time I did something, it changed. And I was like, oh. And again, I had to learn the hard way with that one. And that's what we will do. We will learn the hard way. But of course, we can learn off each other. So if someone's taken those steps before, we can grow through them too. Like I say, I'm about to get on with mine. I'm going to be working on 3 projects now. The blank canvas is scary. It's intimidating. It's not that scary. It's like, first of all, don't beat yourself up. It's not a race. Don't worry about it. It's like you're at the beginning here. We're not trying to get to the end. We're nowhere near the end when we're at the beginning. We're just starting out. So a lot of time, I think, if you're starting your very first book, it's like when I first started my very first book, I had nowhere to start. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I had a story I had to tell. So I got about 4 books. Now, they were mainly just novels. And I just looked at every single one of them on the first page, the very first paragraph. Well, how did they all start their books? Usually it was straight in. Sometimes they build up, but a lot of time it's straight in. And that's how I say now, if anyone's telling a personal story, I think personally it's better to start today. It's easy today. If you start thinking about the past, you give yourself a headache trying to put the pieces together, and where do you start there? To start today is easy because we're now. So Like, why am I writing the book? What have I? What is this? What is the premise going to be? And how am I feeling today? Effectively, all these little things will start open up a can of worms. Like, how am I feeling today? And that's obviously that's a culmination of what you're anticipating for the future, but also what's happened in the past. And what you're going through. And like I said, after that, you can move the chapters around anyway. So if you find that that's you start today, but you don't want today to be the beginning of the book, you can move that back. So the past, let's say you wanted to start from the very beginning as a child. That's fine, but it doesn't mean you have to start writing the book there. You can start from now, and then you can start unraveling the past as you writing about the present, and then the past chapter can go to the front. So you just move it all around, you know. It's like, again, you don't have to beat yourself up to be perfect. It's like, let's just start processing it and get to work. If you see your chapters are too short, it's like maybe to have a little look. And I know and that can be quite intimidating when you're working. You go, "There's nothing else I can add." But it's like sometimes there is, you know, maybe think of a conversation that happened or just maybe explain something a little bit deeper. So maybe you've shown an event, but there's something else you could do around it. Maybe your thought process of how you would perceive that today or how it made you feel back then. But just add a little bit more substance because if it's too short, it's clearly not layered enough. And then you'd have to wonder whether that chapter's worth having on its own, whether it's worth removing, or whether it's worth integrating into another chapter. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I've got a couple of chapters that are maybe one's 700 words, one's 500 words, 800 words. And I look and think, the book's already big enough. Like, I could, if I wanted to, I could sit there and try to figure out a way to add more substance, even though I've covered a lot. Or I can just say, you know what? We just turn 3 chapters into 1 chapter. Bosh, let's put them together. And of course, that's going to create some editing, fine tune, because now you need to turn the paragraphs to blend. And it's all the art craft, you know? And that's how I create. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. It works for me. I've done 6 books. You know, I'm happy with the way I write. I'm happy with the quality of my books. Of course, that's subjective. It's subjective. But what did I say at the beginning? You know, I think it's rarely anyone's a 10. So don't worry about being perfect. That don't really happen. Even in Harry Potter, there's a lot of people who don't like Harry Potter books. You got to think like that. Not everybody likes something that's really like something you love. Someone else might not love. I thought I'd just show little qualities here. This is my hardback. I recently published the hardbacks last year. I wasn't going to bother, but I thought if anyone truly loves the books, they may want hardbacks. I tried to price it fair. I don't make any more money from this than I do from the paperback. I just wanted to give people an option. So it is bigger. I just made the text bigger than that. So really, if you want smaller text, it'll be this one. If you want it to be slightly blown up, it's going to be this one. But I think they look cool. I thought I'd show these ones because of my green screen. If I put the blue books or anything that's blue, it's gonna probably remove half the image. But yeah, this is Losing Mind to Find Your Soul. This is my spiritual book, and it was partly why I got it anyway, because the one I'm going to be working on is the follow up to this now. So yeah, I'm really proud of them. I think they're awesome. Yeah, cool. The other thing I would say, when you decide to publish a book, if you decide to I print through Amazon. Their quality is very good. The royalties is fair. It's reasonable. Do glossy covers. That's what I would say. I did all mine were matte before because I thought it was going to be better, more professional matte. And then I got a glossy one. And I was like, that is incredible. It's so much more vivid. It's so much more professional. I think it's much better the glossy covers. So if you're going to do covers, I'd suggest glossy. I can't tell people how to write this story. You know, I can only give ideas on how to start it. It's like it's my writing style is going to be different to someone else's writing style. You know, I come across many people who have such a talent. I can see it. And it's like, they've just got to give them license to then create, you know. If you can articulate what it is you want to say, then there's no reason you can't put that into words. There's other ways to do it. So I'm going to give a little trick that I'm doing at the moment. And it's not something I did with my previous books. I think my last one I did a little bit, to be honest, because I just started figuring it out. I do a lot of videos. And I realized that look, I can sit and write from scratch, and I love that. I love pushing myself. It's more time consuming, but I can do it. But I realized I've done so many videos, and it's like I don't want to lose what I've said. Like, there's a lot of people that I do too many videos sometimes, and people might miss what I've said somewhere. So what I've been doing is getting transcripts from what I've done in the videos, and I'm editing the transcripts to make it book readable form. You couldn't possibly just get a transcript, copy paste, and then print that. It's a mess, absolute mess. And there's repetitions when we do video content, so it is fine tuning a craft. But that's why I can do the books easier. So when I say I've got heavy editing to do on these books, it's because I've got the transcripts to work from that I've already chosen the books, because I already started last year. I reckon I've done hundreds of videos since I started working on these free transcripts, which is why I say there's going to be even more books in the future, because I've got all these other videos to sort of like try and sift through. It's going to be a whole bligging process, but I know it's going to help people, you know. But I don't like doing editing, so for me, this isn't fun. It's a smart way to operate. So if you do video content, it's going to be it's going to be part of the. You could speed up the process by using transcripts from your videos, but if you don't like editing, you're going to lose a lot of the joy, which is where I've got to. It's like, I know that it'll be too much of a waste not to use the content I've done. You know, I don't want to lose it. I just think it doesn't make sense, but I need to still work through it. It's going to be a whole bligging process. It's not enjoyable, but it's pragmatic. So if you do that, you can use transcripts. So it's worth looking into that if you're interested. So that, by the other side of that, there's a lot of software where you can actually, like, I think, I'm not sure if Scrivener has it. I think they do, where you can talk into your microphone and it'll type it up for you. So if you don't like typing, or you have trouble typing, or you know, you find it's easier to process your thoughts just talking out loud, you can do that. Just use dictation; it'll do it for you. So there's other ways to write. You don't have to sort of beat yourself up to sort of like come up with the concepts here now. But, you know, we do need to be open with ourselves. So what I wanted to do a little bit here, if anyone, you know, I say that as well about the rambling. I hope I ain't boring people, but I'm sure if anyone's interested in writing, they'll be interested perhaps in this side of things. So like, I can't sit with a laptop at a desk because it pushes your neck down like this. It's really uncomfortable. It's like, it's impossible for me. I do a lot of things at my desk in general. I like to watch YouTube videos. I do gaming. I do other sort of stuff, you know, and it's like, I don't really want to be sat here all the time. It's not ideal. I like to be sitting. I like to be free. So I like to put it on I like to sit on a sofa and different positions on the sofa, and I can sit in bed, and I can sit wherever I want with the laptop. So that's going to be important. Like, where do you feel creative? If you don't want to sit at a desk, you don't want to be rigid, and you haven't got a laptop, maybe look to invest in getting one and then get comfortable. Like, MacBooks for me are great because, especially MacBook Air, they don't have fan vents. Like, I've got a gaming laptop. It's too bulky, it's too heavy. The battery's not very good. It always needs plugging in. I use that as a desktop alternative, so that's good for gaming and things I do at the desk with an external monitor plugged in. It's just an alternative to that. That would be, no way would that be useful like this. So this can sit on your lap without getting hot. It doesn't need the external like fans and stuff. So, and you can get them cheap. You can get used ones. You know, there's budget versions for like £300 if you go on Amazon or something. Get a used, renewed one, whatever they're called, and of course eBay. So, you know, do that if you want mobility. I would suggest Macs. I really do. Because again, it depends what you've got and what budget you've got. But for me personally, I use the Mac predominantly as my. I use it as my alternative. I've got typewriters as well. I love typewriters. I've got typewriters. It's my alternative to that. So, like, when I open it up, it's just work. It's just books. This is my books. This is like, that's what that's for. There's no distraction. If I do it on the computer, I'm not saying I will get distracted all the time, but there'll always be an excuse not to work on it. There'll always be an excuse to do something else. I don't want that. So what I want to do is share a little bit of my upcoming book, because I've greenlit it, which I didn't know, because of course I've just come back and it's green. So I didn't show that actually, but there's certain things you can do, like with the chapter titles on Scrivener, you can tag them with colors. And it helps because you could do one that's red, which would, like, I'm just saying the colors I would use. If I'm looking through the manuscript after or during, depending on what phase I want to start looking at the book to edit it a bit, and I'll do, like, I tag it red, it obviously means it's a mess. If I was to do blue, it means I'm working on it. So I know when I open it up, make sure that's the one we was working on last. If I do something like maybe yellow, maybe it needs, or purple, it needs some work doing to it. If it's green, it's finished. Happy with that. So then I know I don't have to go back to it. It's like, it's finished. It's actually finished. Having said that, I've done this green, and now we're getting a bit some potential issues. I'd have to go through it all again. I don't know why I greenlit it. It might be that I didn't have Grammarly Premium, but I had Grammarly Free, and I felt it was good enough. And now Grammarly Premium is saying, well, there's a few things that we could change here. And of course, you want the best quality. So I'm going to listen. Doesn't mean I'll agree. So what we're going to do, I'm not gonna, I don't think I'll read the whole chapter. This is from my spiritual book, and it's called The Meaning of Life. And you can judge for yourself whether you think it's good enough. This is like, at this point, this is what I would have produced had it not highlighted issues. So I'm going to go through it again. But I don't think it's going to be, it's mainly going to be grammar, potentially. Um, After a year-long break from creating video content and releasing Inspire Your Mind to Enlighten Your Soul in 2023, I returned to sharing my experiences and opinions on the video sharing platform TikTok, prominent with content creators sharing spiritual insights. Upon my spiritual activation in 2020, I regularly saw repeated numbers, accurate tarot readings, and psychic insights, which featured throughout my book, Losing Your Mind to Find Your Soul. TikTok played a significant part in my spiritual awakening, evolution, and growth. I met wonderfully gifted people through their content. When embarking upon a spiritual journey, our spirit guides become more active, and their guidance becomes obvious through repeated numbers and synchronicities, which tend to correlate perfectly with the content we're witnessing and the thoughts and actions happening in our lives. On the 6th of October 2023, repeated numbers heightened, with many videos in my video feed having numbers one after another, from likes to favourites, comments and shares, and it hasn't stopped. If anything, it's only intensified through time. It would seem implausible for an app to continuously throw videos at me, with the exact timing of sequences, as it'd be almost impossible to curate, especially as I rarely engage with the content. I didn't want a platform's algorithm to influence the signs and synchronicities received. However, the universe sends us what we need, and the numbers weren't only miraculous, but the content was also similar, one after another, time and time again. Mostly tarot readings suggesting impending wealth, a love interest which was watching me, and my content helped many people more than I realized, and bold statements that I'd become famous and remembered for generations. I'm humble. While I say that, I just want to make it clear here, I just got goosebumps as soon as I said that, and that's part of this spiritual journey. So I'm talking about a spiritual situation here, and I'm getting incredible goosebumps right now. That's crazy. I'm humble, so fame doesn't bother me, and the suggestion of it doesn't inflate my ego. I merely continue doing what I always do, creating to help and inspire people because it's what I feel called to do. In the news, someone won a Nobel Peace Prize, and I momentarily thought to myself, that'd be an accolade worth acquiring one day. I wasn't content with merely being famous and remembered. I wanted to contribute a positive impact on the world that would be a rare fate, and perhaps worthy of such prestigious awards. It's not the driving force for what I do, nor do I concern myself with it. It's more of a yet another seemingly impossible goal to strive towards rather than an expectation or need. After all, I don't seek or need validation, so I hardly need to be recognized for my contribution towards humanity. Still, as it's rare and only awarded to those genuinely deserving, it'd be a worthwhile award to gain and certainly more meaningful than money or materialistic reward. There's some things I go through within it. It's just I'm having, in all honesty, my eyes are killing me. Like I can't. The text on this, I don't think it's going to come up on the video. You're probably not going to see it, but the text's tiny. From where I'm sitting, I don't want to be leaning and hurting my head. I don't want to sort of adjusting myself. I'd have to do that for me to read this comfortably. I'd have to do it like this, and yeah, I've got it all the way down there. So to get that far reading that has been quite amazing. That's a small part of the chapter. So the first chapter's at the moment, which is quite crazy. If we could talk synchronicities, which I'm only just noticing now, because obviously I've only just opened the manuscript again. 1,818 words, the first chapter of the book, which is 1818, which of course you would say is a mirror number, really. Or well, it's definitely a synchronicity. 1818 repeated numbers. I mean, I could Google that now. Like, what's 18? So if we shut that down anyway. So if we say angel number 1818, what does it mean? A sign from your guardian angels. They are with you, have important message for you. Time to focus on spiritual enlightenment. Open yourself up to divine forces. Positive changes coming your way. You should stay humble and optimistic. What did I say in the book? Humble. You're on the right path. You have the support of the divine realm. Getting goosebumps. It symbolizes prosperity, material variety, spiritual and emotional wealth. Again, mentioned that there. So that's quite crazy, isn't it? So, that's something else I might just mention in that chapter if I go over it again. Anyway, I don't want to sort of force that on people. That wasn't the point of my video. It's just that's what my next book is. I'm hoping it helps people though, because I want to inspire people to it is a challenge. I'm having to give myself a real kick up the arse. But I know if I can get through the next couple of days, just making strides with these books, it'll all of a sudden click, and I'll just gravitate to it like I'm off to a flame. I'll just start embodying it all again, because once I'm working on the projects, I do get absorbed by it, and I start to enjoy it. Like that's why I say I end up working on multiple projects, because I just start everything I'm thinking just goes on the pages. It just starts flowing. But at this stage, I'm having to go through the mundane task of editing transcript, and that's not fun. So yeah, there is a whole process involved within that. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully that's of some use to people. Hopefully it's been useful. Like I say, I don't gatekeep. I do want people to achieve their goals. And the way I see it is, if more of us shared our story, hopefully it would help heal the planet, and we could all have a positive contribution on the world. Yeah, it's the writing journey.